meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, everybody. Now, I just want to take the time to welcome you guys back to Money Talk with Mr. Finance. Guys, I want to tell you it's been a long time coming. I just want to tell you this is a magical moment, a moment where greatness is happening at this very time. And I want to welcome every last one of you that's been supporting me for all these years. Money Talk. We've changed so many lives. We've done so many things. We've changed how people feel about money. And I want to tell you guys that we're back. We're back to stay, and this is our episode 1, Money Talk with Mr. Finance podcast. And today we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about finance. We're going to understand how it works. And I want to encourage every last one of you guys that if you're listening to this, remember to take notes. Remember to get your notebook, make your notepad, because it's going to be another lesson. We're going to cover a lot today. And like I said, if you're here right now and you're tuning in, round of applause to you, all right? So, for those of you that don't know who I am, let me just give you a little background about who I am. So, my name is Coach Keyon. I like to call me Mr. Finance. I've been in the financial industry now for over a decade. And, right now, I am a regional marketing director with a firm called HGI. I'm also the founder and CEO of BShynaz Legacy Financial, and we pretty much provide financial services and education. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go along here. Also, just want you guys to know I'm also an author. I'm the author of Master Your Budget, which is a book that teaches you how to pretty much master your budget. It's available on Amazon for those of you that want to get a copy of it. And like I said, today we're going to really cover a lot of good information, guys. We're going to cover a lot of good information. We're going to talk a lot about finance. And I want to empower every last one of you with that knowledge. So just to give you a little background about our firm, HGI. So HGI, we are a financial marketing firm. And we are also a financial brokerage that distribution system that provide financial education. We provide financial planning and strategy. And we also provide an opportunity to where you can build a business within the financial service industry and really make it a game changer. So I just want you to know that you have the opportunity to learn and earn here. So that's what makes us so unique. And with that said, I am very happy to talk to you guys about some money today. Because when you look in the industry and we see what's going on out there with a lot of families are struggling when it comes to their finances. A lot of families are struggling. And they're struggling in 4 major areas, guys. There's 4 major areas that every family is struggling with at this very moment. And number one, the first area is how do they make more money? The average individual in today's society believes that making more money is going to get another job. Making more money is working overtime. Making more money is for me to work from 9 to 11 and do that 7 days a week. And that benefits nobody. So the average person is always concerned about how do I make money. Another concern for many families today is that they're concerned about where they save their money. The average individual save majority of their money in the bank. And a lot of people save their money in the bank not because the bank gives them the best rate of return, not because the bank is the place where they should save, it's because that's where they were told. A lot of us learn our finances from our parents. A lot of us learn our finances from our grandparents. And I hate to say it, we live in a different time today where that type of thinking won't work. That initial way of thinking won't work because we live in a time where money is moved from being money to now it's become currency. And it's now moving from currency to becoming digital. You have to plan for where to save your money. A lot of people are also concerned about how do I grow my money? How do I grow my money? And when you look at the average individual today, many people believe that only buying stocks and investing into real estate or, getting into the crypto space, a lot of people are taught that that's the only way to grow their money. But I want to tell you, there's so many different ways. There's so many ways to grow your money. But we just got to understand, what does that look like? And last but not least, the fourth concern: how do we protect our money? The average individual believes that today, that protecting their money is putting it just in the bank. And there's nothing wrong with the bank, but it's not the only option that you have that's on the table. But the average individual today only believe that putting their money in the bank, it makes it protected. Or the average individual believe that having just a will alone is sufficient to protect their assets. We live in a time where a lot of people weren't taught how to do this. And that's the reason why Money Talk is here. That's the reason why we're having this conversation today. That's the reason why I want to empower you, and I want to give you all the tools for you to win the money back. So I want to start off by letting you guys know that finance is not complicated. Finance is not hard, guys. And I know that's what they want us to think. I know that's what they want you to believe. That finance is complicated, it is hard, and you need to get a professional to figure it all out. I promise you, finance is not complicated. Finance is not hard. If a guy like me can learn all that I've learned over the past decade, and if a guy like me can understand what I've understood, and I just want to give you guys some understanding that I have no college background. I have no college background. I was the guy that failed entry to get into a county college. I have no college background. But yet still, you're looking at a guy that had the opportunity to teach finance at an Ivy League school for 2 semesters. I was able to do that. You're looking at a guy that had the opportunity to speak with some of our biggest government officials. You're looking at a guy that talked to some of our top law enforcers. You're looking at a guy that have helped many organizations to learn about finance. And I have no financial background. But I was able to learn what I want to teach. I was able to learn what I want to empower you with. And I just want to encourage you, if you're listening today, just know that I am just like you. Because I've been there. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to lose. I know what it's like to lose it all. I know what it's like. Because I've been there. I've been where you've been. But the difference is that it doesn't stop. It's never going to stop. But the question you got to ask yourself is, how do I overcome these challenges when they present themselves? How do I overcome these problems when they present themselves? What are the tools that I need to have? What are the tools that I need to know so that way I could be equipped, prepared, and ready for? Because financial problems is not something that we wake up and say, hey, financial problem, come and attack me today. Financial problems are things that happen unexpectedly. And you got to ask yourself, what can I do to respond or prepare or ready for? So you got to ask yourself every day, am I ready for a financial challenge? Am I prepared to overcome financial obstacles? Am I equipped to make sure that when finances go left, I know what to do right? That's what Money Talk is. I'm here to empower you with information and understanding so you have the clarity. I want to make sure that when you walk away from my calls, from you listening to this, from you rewatching this, from you sharing this, I don't want you to walk away and say, I understand how to take control of my money. Because you got to ask yourself every day, do you truly control your money? Are you in charge? Do you want to keep having people in charge of your money? When are you going to take control? When are you going to take back power? That's the question you got to ask yourself every day. Every day you got to ask yourself that question. What can I do to be back in control and take possession of my money? So you got to ask yourself, my friends, this is the time where we got to focus on financial literacy. Because imagine, we live in a country, one of the greatest countries on this planet. And we live in a country where we have sent people to the moon. We have sent people around the world. We've accomplished so much. But yet still, so many people still don't understand how money works. So how does the lower class and middle class elevate to become in the higher? I do believe that we all have the goals, and we have the skills, and we have the drive, and we have the ambition to be great. I do believe that. But I just don't feel that we have all given the same opportunity to be great. Because not every one of us can afford to learn about finance. Not every one of us have enough money to be considered or even be considered honored or honorable to be given this information. Because most company may have a stipulation upon how much money do you need to make before they even want to help you. Or some programs may require initial investment to even get some education. And that's where we're different. That's what I'm here for. Money Talk is here for the common folks who wants to stop being ordinary and inspiring to become extraordinary. That's what Money Talk is here to do. Money Talk is for you. Money Talk is for me. Money Talk is for us. And we all deserve to win the money game. So how do you win the money game? Let's have that conversation. How do you win the money game? Now, in order for you to win the money game, right, you got to learn concepts. You got to learn concepts. And if you don't understand the concepts to money, there's 4 things you got to understand about money, guys. Money starts with why. Why do I need to make more money? If you don't know why you need to make more money, then you will never make more money. If you don't understand the fundamentals of why you need to make more money, then you won't make more money. You got to learn how to save money. Until you learn how to save money, you will never have it. But most importantly, you got to have a goal. The goal is to make sure you can grow your money. Your goal at every given time is to find ways to grow your money. Your money should be working more. Your money should be working harder for you than you working harder for money. That's when you got to learn the concept of saving and investing my principal so that way I can live off the interest. I want you to write that down. Write that down. I want you to never forget that. You need to save and invest your principal so that way you could spend and enjoy the interest. You got to get into a space where you understand those fundamentals. But ultimately, what's the plan? You got to have a plan. Now, the plan is to also teach you and guide you and show you how to protect your money. Because what's the use of making it, saving it, growing it, if we never learn how to protect it? We got to protect our money. Because most people will never help you teach you how to do it. And that's when you become food to the crows. So I want to show you how to protect your money. I want to teach you those things. So those are the 4 fundamentals. Those are the 4 fundamentals of money. You got to learn why you need to, make more money. You got to learn how do I save more money. You got to understand the goal. The goal is to build and grow your money. But the plan is ultimately protected. And we're going to cover these things. How do I do this? What must I do to accomplish this goal? That's what Money Talk with Mr. Finance is about. I'm here to present how to win the money game. So I want to encourage every last one of you today. And I just want to tell you that we are going to get past this, right? We're going to get past this. And we're going to accomplish something amazing in today's talk. And I want to share with you guys that, hey, no matter what you're going through, your finances will never get you. Because I'm here. I'm here for you. I'm here for you because I wish someone was there for my mom. Just to tell you guys a little story about my background. I grew up in a small, beautiful island called Jamaica. I was able to come to the U.S. at the age of 13 years old. And upon coming to the U.S., the American dream. Unlike most people, I never encountered the American dream. I learned what the American nightmare felt like. We went from doing very well for ourselves in Jamaica, living a very good life, middle class. Grew up in a very beautiful neighborhood, had cars, a home, and we had a business, and it was a very successful one. And I want to tell you, life was good. Life was great in Jamaica. So coming to America, we believed that it would have been better. But that's not what we encountered. I remember the first time coming to America and I landed in Florida. I felt like I was still in Jamaica. And the next day I came to Atlanta. And that's where we saw a little bit of a different light. But I realized that when you come to America, you start all over. You're not starting from where you left off. You're starting from scratch. Because I realized that my mother could not do the things that she did in Jamaica to be successful. So here, she had to make a big sacrifice. She had to leave me with my aunt. And we had to be separated for a period of time. And as she went on to New Jersey to seek a better life, I had to stay behind with my aunt. But in that moment, I must tell you, I experienced something beautiful. I grew up with my aunt. I watched her grind. I watched her work hard. And she built a limousine company. And we moved from her home that she had, and we moved into what I would like to call an estate. I've seen some of the finest cars, rode in all the toppest limousines, and I experienced the lifestyle that most people only dreamed about. And then reality kicked in. My mother was able to finally get back settled on her feet, and she sent for me. At this time, I did not want to leave because I was living the life. I was living the American dream. And my aunt said, now it's time for you to go because you see it can be done. And it's okay. Your mom needs you. And I came to Jersey. And when I came to New Jersey, I remember this like it was yesterday. I didn't come to Jersey to a big house like my aunt's. I didn't come where we had limousines parked in the driveway. I came to a house, a humble beginning, where my mother was able to rent a room from a lady that was pretty much disabled. So there was a room, a living room, a bathroom, a kitchen. And at the time, my mother wanted me to feel so comfortable in this setting that she even opened up the room and said, no, you can stay. And I looked at her at this very moment and I said to myself, I don't feel that was right. So I encouraged her, no, you keep the room. I will sleep on the couch. You're the one working. I will be on the couch. And I remember when we getting ready to go to school, we didn't go to the mall to shop. We didn't go into the nearest name brand store and get the finest things. No. We went to Patterson, New Jersey. And we went down to Market Street. And I remember getting clothes and things from that area, or even going to Burlington picking up those boots that looked like Timberlands, but they had no names on them. That was my beginning. And I respected something my mother did. Because at the time, my mom was working multiple jobs. And I would go to school, and I would come home, I'll do my homework. And I was sitting on that couch, and I remember one day she walked in and said, "Give me a couple months. I promise you we'll be out of here." And I knew she meant it. She meant it very much. And I told her that's okay. And I continued doing what I had to do. I went to school, I did my work, and I remember one day she come home and said, "Guess what? We're moving." And I looked at her and said, "Where?" And she brought us to the house, and I was able to see where we're going to live. I had my own room. It was me and my cousin and my aunt. We had a basement. We had a driveway, a backyard, a shed. All of this was able to accomplish in less than 6 months. And I watched her grind. And I eventually see her grind from there to where we lived in Park City. And we lived in a house, a 4-bedroom home. And from there, I watched her build an empire and grow it into real estate. And I watched my mother become a full-blown entrepreneur. Life was good because we went on to owning a 3-family home. And at the time, I pretty much had my own home. My sister had her own, and my mom had her own. And I watched her own multiple properties in Connecticut. And life was starting to feel like the American dream. And then 2009, 2008 happened. But many of you guys don't know what that happened in that moment. That moment is called the real estate boom. In that very moment, I've watched my mother become a self-made millionaire, build up her portfolio, grow an empire. She lost it all. Because this was a time where we're going through that recession. Tenants couldn't pay their rent. They had nowhere to get out. And we didn't learn something called a short sale. And by the time we were able to get these people out of this house, they didn't leave peacefully. They flooded the house, took all the copper pipes out. And I watched my mother single-handedly drain every dollar that she made from paying these mortgages, paying for repairs. And obviously the market did not turn back around. So not only did we lose the investment properties, we ended up even losing the very home that we lived in. And I remember when we were packing up, my mother did that last look around in the house. And we went back to renting. And she went back to working her jobs. It killed one of the greatest entrepreneurs I knew. Someone that I admired. Someone that I looked up to. All because someone did not teach her what was a short sale. Financial literacy is not something that I just take lightly. It is something that is passionate to me. Because I've watched financial literacy stolen from our family. I've watched my family lose the financial or the American dreams over and over again. All because someone never gave them the knowledge that they needed. So I want to tell you guys, if this is you, I know where you've been. I know what it feels like. I know what it's like to gain it all and lose it all, and you have no explanation for why this happened to you. I've been there. That's what makes me so passionate about what I do. I tell people all the time, I don't do this for the money. I don't do this for the money. Because I've made money and I've lost money. But I still have the same passion. I still have the same drive. I still have the same desire every day. No matter how I feel. I show up depressed, sick, happy, healthy. I'm showing up. And I'm always going to show up as long as God wakes me up. because I do this for the impact and not for the income, because I know what it's like to not have it. I know what it's like to have it and lost it all. I know, because I've been there. I've experienced it. So when I got into this industry, I'm always going to be grateful. And I always give him out a shout out anywhere I go and I talk about him. Sheldon Wilson. I'll forever love you, man. You changed my life. You changed my life. You single-handedly saved me from me by just simply calling, just asking if I was open to learning more. One phone call, guys. This phone call came into me at a time where I was at my lowest. This was a time where I just gained custody of my son. And here I am, just freshly married. Me and my wife have our kid on our way. And man, just lost my apartment. Living in my aunt's one bedroom. Trying to regroup, trying to come up. And he gave me a phone call. And he said to me, "Are you open?" I was skeptical. I'm not going to lie to you. I was very skeptical. I wasn't sure what I was walking into. I wasn't sure what was this about. But I was more open when he said, "Learn about finance." And I said, "Yes, I'm open. How much is it going to cost?" And he said, "All you have to pay is attention." I came. I saw. I was inspired. And I did everything in my power to get involved with the organization. Now, obviously, they say when something is worth it, it won't come easily. They say when something is worth it, it won't come easily. It's going to challenge you. It's going to force you to grow. It's going to force you to overcome obstacles repeatedly. Because sometimes you have to be broken to be remade. This opportunity did that. It broke me. It remade me. And it gave me a goal and a plan. And I want to tell you, it took me 13 tries to obtain my license. I took my exam over 13 times to pass it. It took me over 6 months to get my license. But in that very moment of those 6 months, in not one time it stopped me from going out there and helping families. To put them in front of the person that changed my life, Leon Garcia, when he educated me, Adrian Elliott, Shakira Garcia. All these people inspired me. They educated me. And I said, you need to go meet my aunts. You got to meet my friends. You got to meet my coworkers. You got to go out there and meet all these people. And I started going out there prospecting. I had people tell me no. I had people tell me I'm not interested. I had people tell me don't call me no more. I had people that blocked me. But all I was trying to do in that moment, all I wanted to do in that moment was just let them know that there was a guy that could educate you. There was a guy that could empower you. There was a guy that could have given you what he gave me. The first time I owned life insurance was because of them. The first time I understand the power of life insurance was because of them. I'll never forget it. The first policy I got, I was paying $15 every week. $15. I started out there. Can you save $15, $60 every month? That's where I started in my 20s, guys. Me and my wife started our first policy at that rate. And we were covered. Because at the same time, the question that was asked to me was that if you die today, who's going to take care of your wife and your kids? And ignorant me would believe that my mother would have been there for them. And at this moment, I want to tell you that was such a selfish thing to think. To believe that my mother would have been there for my kids and my wife if something was to happen to me. And when he looked at me and said, "Is your mother in a position to do that and take care of herself?" And I said, "No." He then go on to ask me and said, "Do you know that $60, $15 every week, $15 every week could change all of that? 15 bucks." So I want you to think about that. $60 every month changed my life. Because there was a particular time where I got into a car accident, got hit by a drunk driver. And at the time I had a coverage, it wasn't much. I think it was a little bit over 200,000. But I said to myself, if something was to happen to me, my wife and my kids will be okay. At least it will give them a start. $200,000 start. And you got to think about that. It's not a matter if I die too soon. It's not just about if I live too long. It's the fact that you don't know when either one's going to happen to you or for you. So you got to be prepared for all of it. And that's the thing that it gave me, a peace of mind. A peace of mind, even though I know that was just the beginning. That was one of the protection. But as I grew in this industry, I've learned so much more. I've learned the power of having proper protection, all spectrum. I've learned the importance of managing our debts. I've learned there's so much power in having an emergency fund. I've learned the power of learning of investing and saving. Because even though life may happen for me, because it doesn't happen to me, I'm never a victim. That's where you got to change. I think that's where the change starts first. You got to ask yourself, am I a victim or am I victorious? Am I a victim or am I victorious? If you always feel like a victim, something is always happening to you. But if you feel victorious, you'll always see that something is happening for you. So sometimes you have to grow. You have to grow, not go. You got to grow through things so that way you could get to the thing. And you got to ask yourself, what is the end in mind for you? What is the end in mind for you? What is that you want to accomplish when it comes to your finances? What is that you want to obtain within your finances? You got to ask yourself, what am I going to, not going through? And I want to encourage you to know that you are not a victim. You are victorious. Nothing is happening to you. It is happening for you. Because there is a lesson that can become a blessing. But every blessing starts off as a lesson. Never forget that. So you got to trust the process. You got to trust the process. You got to trust that this is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And if you continue to grow and learn, you will earn. Remember, there's a word in learn. Before you can earn, you got to learn, right? You got to put the L in front of the word earn before. So you got to learn before you earn. And I know sometimes learning about finance can be complicated. And I know that sometimes it could be a little bit challenging. But remember, this is happening for you. It's going to be complicated. It's going to be a little bit challenged. It's going to be a learning curve. Of course it's going to happen. If it didn't happen, that's why it's so great. Do you know what's the problem in today's society? In today's society, we believe that success is the ultimate journey. It's not. It's about overcoming failure multiple times. Success is only the result. Success is the result of overcoming failure over and over and over again. But if you are afraid to face that, you can't be afraid to face failure. Do you know that in failure, you learn more? Do you know that rejection builds up your self-esteem? I know that in most scenario people say, well, rejection is a self-esteem killer. Absolutely not. Rejection is redirection. You got to realize that sometimes you have to be rejected because maybe God is redirecting you. Not everything that you aspire to want is not meant for you. So you got to realize that rejection is redirection. So when you feel as if that, oh, I didn't get the job, or this deal didn't go through, or this thing never worked out, sometimes rejection is redirection. But you got to understand that there's always a lesson to be learned before you could obtain the blessing. See, finance and God goes hand to hand. Because in everything you do, you're going to always need permission and guidance. Everything you do, you're going to always need permission and guidance. But I want to encourage you. I want to remind you that Money Talk is here to empower you. Money Talk is here to empower you. And I want you to always know that as long as God wakes me up, as long as God wakes me up every day, I will be here to give you financial information, financial understanding, financial clarity, so that way you have the confidence to implement the things that you want to accomplish. I will guide you. I will coach you. I will mentor you. I will empower you so that way you can be the best you for you and your family. So I want to encourage every last one of you, for you that's listening to this. If you want to get access to my classes, if you want to get access to my mentorship, if you want to get access to my leadership, all you have to do is text the word I am ready. All you have to do is text the word I am ready to 321 312 0130. Once again, if you would like my mentorship, if you would like my leadership, if you would like me to coach you and teach you how to win the money game, all you have to do is text the word I am ready to 321 312 0130. And that's all it takes to be a part of this program. So I want to tell you guys, it's such a pleasure. Money Talk with Mr. Finance podcast is back. And welcome to episode 1. So we're going to have some fun, guys. We're going to be able to have guests on. We're going to talk a lot of great things. We're going to bring on some professionals that's been in the industry. I got a lot of friends over the past decade, guys, and I can't wait to introduce you to them all. We're going to cover a wide variety of topics, anywhere from investments to Medicare, estate planning. We're going to talk about life insurance. You guys are going to learn, and you're going to be in a position where you can earn. We're going to even bring on business professionals where you guys can learn about different businesses. If you want to learn about anything, we're going to bring them on the call. We're going to bring them on the podcast, and we're going to make sure that you get this information, all right? So with that said, guys, I want to tell you, this was amazing. This was a great first podcast. And I want to encourage you guys this. I want to tell you this. No matter what you're going through, just always remember that every setback will set you up for the greatest comeback. So every setback will set you up for your greatest comeback. Nothing is happening to you, but it's happening for you. And don't you ever forget that. So always remember this as I come to a closing. I want to tell you that you're one decision away from changing the future for the better. So always remember that the choice is always yours. My name is Coach Keyon, also known as Mr. Finance, your favorite financial educator and business coach. So always remember that the choice, like I said, is always yours. I look forward to seeing you at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. Until next time. See you guys.